So today we're going to be working on our Aztec clay sun. If you forget any of the directions that I give you during the video, you can look up at the pink poster in the front of the room for all of the steps. If you still don't remember what to do, ask people at your table. If they still don't know what to do, then you can raise your hand and ask the teacher. So Aztec culture is shown on the map, and we are over to the right in Florida, and on the left in red is where the ancient civilization of the Aztecs used to be, which is now Mexico. This culture built many temples and had many gods, including the god of the sun and of war, and I can't pronounce that name, but that is what he looks like. They also had this really neat calendar in the shape of a sun. So this is going to be the inspiration for our project today. We will be working with a clay slab, which means a flat piece of clay. You will use the tool that has the very pointy end, and please be very careful with this tool. Place your tracer on top of the clay and make sure that when you are tracing the clay, make sure that it is pressing all the way down to the table. Go all the way around the tracer and then lift off the extra. Place the extra carefully. Do not bunch it up because we will be using those pieces, and if we touch that extra piece of clay, it will get dry and crack, and then you can't use it anymore. Run your fingertips on the edge of the sun that you have just traced to get rid of any sharp edges. Now we're going to start to make the facial features of the Aztec sun. Grab a couple pieces from your extra clay pile, and you can start to roll coils, which are little snakes of clay, and you can start to create eyes and nose and mouth. Now when you are sticking these pieces onto your clay sun, you're going to need to use clay slip, which is a kind of clay glue, and apply it with the toothbrush to rough up the edge so your piece sticks to it. Make sure to put the toothbrush on the other piece as well, because both sides need to be rough so they can join together. Press them down lightly and they will stick. If you don't do this part when your clay project dries, the pieces will pop right off either when they are drying or in the kiln when your project is firing. You can use the other end of your clay tool to smooth down or fix any imperfections. I am rolling a couple balls for the eyes of the sun. Again, don't forget to add some clay slip to both sides of the pieces that you will be joining together so they don't pop off when it is drying and when it is being fired in the kiln at 1400 degrees. We're going to make a three-dimensional nose, so make sure that it is a triangle. Again, put the toothbrush and rough up the ends that will be touching each other, and give it a good press. I even went ahead and used my tool to press down a little bit more because the piece is so three-dimensional. I'm going to roll a long, thin coil for the mouth because I want the mouth to be large, smiling, and open. If you want, you can even create a tongue coming out of the mouth, like the real Aztec clay sun that I showed you at the beginning of the presentation. Again, get out your toothbrush, rough up both sides of the pieces that will be joined together. If you have a little crack, yes, you can dip your finger in the wet slip water and kind of smooth anything out that you need to. But don't put too much water on your project or it will deteriorate and become soupy. You can start to use the tool that you have in your hand to create some stamped texture, and then when you're done using that tool and you have rotated your placemat and went all the way around, you can bring that back up to the buffet and exchange it for another tool and add different textures. Leave your extra clay pieces in the center of the table, and we're going to use those another time. Go up to the buffet, or maybe I might bring you a piece of paper, fold it in half, write your name and your class code on it, and then carefully lift up your placemat and peel off your project, placing it on the paper, carrying it with both hands underneath the paper to the cardboard box at the far end of the room. When you are there, you can start in the red box and wait in line for your turn to wash your hands. Remember, wash your hands for 10 seconds, then move over to the right, get one paper towel, dry your hands, throw it away, and sit back down, making sure not to touch anything else so your hands won't get dirty again. I know you'll have a great time working on your Aztec clay sun. Now let's get started.